Daryle Jenkins, a black, anti-racist organizer, asked for a brief moment of silence from an animated crowd of counter-protesters on the streets of Murfreesboro, Tennessee this afternoon before reading a tweet from one of the promoters of an alt-right White Lives Matter rally. Murfreesboro was a lawsuit trap. Not worth the risk. Murfreesboro cancelled, he read from his phone, quoting the Twitter account of Brad Griffin, a white nationalist organizer. Celebration from counter-protesters, Antifa in Murfreesboro after news that White Lives Matter pulled out, picked out Twitter.com date and 5 Juge. Keep up with this story and more by subscribing now. Michael E. Hayden at Michael E. Hayden, October 28, 2017. Jenkins stopped short. A grin crept across his face, and applause erupted from the crowd. Antifa, short for anti-fascist protesters, chanted Nazi punks FK off. Friends and strangers in the crowd exchanged hugs. The feeling of jubilation in the crowd at Murfreesboro was undergirded with a palpable sense of relief. Many of the anti-racist activists had just traveled to Murfreesboro from Shelbyville, Tennessee, where another White Lives Matter rally had taken place earlier in the day. There, surrounded by shuttered businesses and counter-protesters, white demonstrators with dreams of creating an all-white country created an atmosphere of tension and terror. Dressed in all black, the demonstrators shouted racial epithets into the crisp fall air. Through a series of speeches, they made the case for a national socialist country, or an explicitly Nazi America. Kevin lives in Shelbyville, says he feels so disappointed the Nazis came. Quote, 39 meters not surprised by it. A lot of racists live around here. QUOT picked out Twitter.com. Keep EDDLgram Michael E. Hayden at Michael E. Hayden, October 28, 2017. The dual rallies were targeted at refugees, according to the white nationalists and neo-Nazis that organized the event. Refugees, many of them Somali and Sudanese, are being resettled in Middle Tennessee, causing subtle, but demonstrable changes to the state's demographics. Organizers for the rally argued that such refugees are somehow displacing white people, and that they harbor a dislike for whites and white culture. They referenced the mass shooting allegedly perpetrated by Sudanese-born Emmanuel Kidega Samson in an Antioch, Tennessee church that claimed the life of one person and injured others as evidence of their claim. Samson, a 25-year-old man, it should be noted, is not at all a part of the recent influx of refugees, and had been living in America since he was a small child. Nazi speakers being countered with Quatcan 39T build the wall, hands too small. Quo in Shelbyville picked out Twitter.com. COG4COESM Michael E. Hayden at Michael E. Hayden, October 28, 2017. Sudanese and Somali refugees that have been resettled in Tennessee expressed horror about the incident allegedly involving Samson to Newsweek, as well as fears of repercussions from white nationalists prior to the rallies that took place today. Please don't come here with your hate. Juma Shabu, a 38-year-old Sudanese refugee living in the Nashville area, told Newsweek prior to the dual rallies. We refugees live a humble life here. Quote, interesting sign. Why Tom Brady? Quote, I just hate Tom Brady. That 39's all. QUOT Shelbyville counter-protester opposing White Lives Matter rally picked out Twitter.com. Geek One Road termed Michael E. Hayden at Michael E. Hayden, October 28, 2017. But Tennessee's resistance to the idea of white nationalism, and against the criticism of refugees, ultimately defined the day's events. Counter-protesters arrived earlier than the white nationalists in Shelbyville, and in greater number. When the white nationalists arrived in Shelbyville, they spoke across a barricade separated them from the rest of the city. They were shouted over by people mocking President Donald Trump, and people ridiculing the idea of America being a country founded only for whites. The counter-protesters not only came in greater numbers but were represented, in both Tennessee cities, by a range of different ethnicities, faiths, and backgrounds by Americans rejecting the idea of Nazism, with signs and organized chants. Most of the white nationalists with whom I-39 spoke and first heard the word quote ethno-state quote during the 2016 election. Trump effect. Shelbyville picked out Twitter.com. Michael E. Hayden at Michael E. Hayden, October 28, 2017. Trevor Childress, a war veteran and self-described white redneck from Tennessee, chanted "We win" after the news of the second rally in Murfreesboro was canceled. He talked to Newsweek about his participation in the protests, which he said had to do with America's history of fighting Nazism during World War II. He spoke passionately of his grandfather fighting against Nazis in the war, explaining why he came out to protest against the planned rallies. The people who do that, I thought we done got rid of them to begin with, Childress said of the Holocaust perpetrated by Nazi Germany. We're here to get rid of them again if they need us to.